This digital story has been created with George and Bruce Roberts representing the company QANTAS, which is a 2009 inductee of the Queensland Business Leaders Hall of Fame.
In 1920, two former Australian Flying Corps officers, W. Hudson Fish and Paul McGuinness, also Fergus McMaster, registered a new airline company. At a similar time, Arthur Baird was in Sydney looking at aircraft and selected the Avro 504K. The first Qantas passenger ticket was sold to Mr. Alexander Kennedy, who was 85 years.
Qantas's first overseas flight was in 1935 when Qantas flew airmail from Darwin to Singapore. The same year, the first overseas passenger left Brisbane for Singapore. The year following that, my dad George began working at Qantas as an engineer. He worked at Qantas until 1970, and his brother Norman also worked there as an engineer from 1934 until 1969. That's 67 years between them. My brother Rodney and I also worked for Qantas. I was in engineering and worked there until 1998, a total of 37 years. Rod worked for Qantas for 16 years. So between Dad and his brother, my brother and myself, we served Qantas for 120 years. That doesn't include the last 38 years that Dad has been a volunteer research historian for Qantas. Just before Dad retired, there was actually 7 members of our family working for Qantas. My first flight was when I was 6 months old in a Qantas flying boat from Sydney to Brisbane. So I suppose our family and Qantas's history are really inseparable. The company has been a great part of our lives.